Roy Moore files lawsuit to block Alabama Senate election results certification. Also took polygraph test by William Patterson. If there's one thing you can say about Judge Roy Moore besides pointing to his integrity, it's that he's a fighter. And in the latest news coming out of Alabama, Moore has filed a lawsuit to block the certification of the Senate election results, in which he has been shown to lose to Democrat Doug Jones by about 22,000 votes. Moore has refused to concede the election because he believes there was voter fraud that took place, and how could he not, especially after seeing this guy, absolutely, where they say they came from all over the parts of the country. Judge Moore released the following statement last Wednesday, Montgomery, Alabama. An election complaint was filed today on behalf of Roy Moore and Judge Roy Moore for U.S. Senate in the Circuit Court of Montgomery, Alabama. The purpose of the complaint is to preserve evidence of potential election fraud and to postpone the certification of Alabama's special election by Secretary of State John Merrill until a thorough investigation of potential election fraud that improperly or altered the outcome of this election is conducted. 3 national election integrity experts reached the same independent conclusion. With a reasonable degree of statistical and mathematical certainty, election fraud occurred. The election experts who submitted affidavits in the complaint agree that the irregularities in 20 precincts of Jefferson County alone are enough to reverse the outcome of the election. Richard Charnin, who holds 3 degrees in applied mathematics and who has written 4 books on election fraud, calculates the probability of the election results in these precincts happening naturally is less than 1 in 15 billion. Also provided in the complaint is an affidavit from Judge Roy Moore stating that he successfully completed a polygraph test confirming the representations of misconduct made against him during the campaign are completely false. Wow. Moore stated it's appalling that the Democrat Senate Majority PAC and the Republican Senator Leadership Fund both spent millions to run false and malicious ads against me in this campaign. This is not a Republican or Democrat issue, as election integrity should matter to everyone, said Moore. We call on Secretary of State Merrill to delay certification until there is a thorough investigation of what 3 independent election experts agree took place, election fraud sufficient to overturn the outcome of the election. Secretary of State John Merrill, along with Governor Kay Ivey and Attorney General Steve Marshall, will make their decision regarding certification tomorrow, December 28th. The citizens of Alabama who care about voter integrity are encouraged to call them and ask for a delay in certification and a preservation of evidence until an investigation is conducted. However, those charged with certifying the election claim they will certify Doug Jones as the winner on Thursday. Isn't that precious? And the Democrats were pushing for this, like, make sure. Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill told the Associated Press on Wednesday evening that he has no intention of delaying the canvassing board meeting. I wonder why. It is not going to delay certification, and Doug Jones will be certified Thursday at 1 p.m., and he will be sworn in by Vice President Pence on the 3rd of January, Merrill said. Those in charge of the election in Alabama claim that they have seen no evidence of voter fraud. I'm sorry, but when 92% of Democrats turn out for a vote in an off-year special election, something is up. And anyone that says otherwise is either naive or lying. And those who claim there is no evidence of voter fraud, have they even looked into the guy in the video above? I'll bet they haven't. He confessed to a state and federal crime on television. He should be investigated. Alabama is supposed to be checking and verifying IDs in order for someone to vote in an election. We know that the Alabama Supreme Court ruled a stay of a judge's earlier order to maintain digital records of the ballots until the election was fully decided. We also know that convicted felons more than likely were registered to vote as well. Newsweek reports thousands of felons have registered to vote in the weeks leading up to the Alabama Senate election on Tuesday, in which Democrat Doug Jones pulled off a surprise victory. Alabamians convicted of a felony had been prohibited from casting ballots in the state until May, when Republican Governor Kay Ivey signed a law that restored the right to vote to some of them. The law specifies a few dozen convictions of moral turpitude that bar felons from voting again, but people who committed crimes not on the list are eligible to vote. The list previously was not clearly defined. Spencer Trawick, who was convicted of third-degree burglary in 2015, registered to vote in June while still incarcerated after Glasgow told him he could. According to a 2014 study, found that 7 in 10 felons registered to vote as Democrats. That's surprising, right? Well, we'll see if Moore wins his lawsuit, and then we'll see if he goes after the women and the Washington Post for their hit piece that attacked his character. Personally, I'd love to see him win that battle and own the Post, turning it into a Christian news publication. You know, who are they supposed to call? Their representative? I mean, this is, you know, they were dying to get him in. That's why they're not even conducting any kind of voter fraud. They didn't even ask about the guy. They said they were going to look into it, but they are not. So, you know, this is unbelievable. So what do? Call them up from you're in Alabama to call them up, but a lot of good. Will that do any good? But this is sickening, actually. They didn't even look into this guy. Schumer said have him sworn in quickly because this is what they wanted. And again, you see, and now Mike Pence, I mean, shouldn't somebody say anything? He even took a polygraph test and proved that it was all false allegations against him. I mean, how is this possible? How is this possible? It's sickening. It's sickening. I don't know what to say about this. You know? Where did it say to call in? Unbelievable. And they are completely false, really. I mean, he took the test too. And this was just a smear campaign. And this was all funded by George Soros to get their guy in, Doug Jones. You see? So in other words, why wouldn't Pence or somebody say that, you know, I find that there should be some kind of investigation. But I guess they don't want to make waves at this point. I don't know what to say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.